Working Class on DeerCast. It's episode 36. I had to redo the intro to double check. Did you catch last week's episode? We talked about a lot. Summer scouting, what's going on. Blind calling, yay or nay. Quick roundtable. Blind calling, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Situational.
Smart answer.
Nice answer, but I'm going to say nay.
90% of the time, it's going to be a nay.
Nay.
Yay. What's up?
Whoa.
How do you like that?
Situational more so, but it's fun, man. Like when you're bored, throw it out. Welcome to the show on DeerCast, Working Class on DeerCast. We have a full house this week.
Got the whole crew.
Kurt Geyer here.
Eric Hammond.
Doug Schmidt.
Austin Chandler.
Ross Bigger.
And Lee Herr, the cult leader. How do you keep making your way back into our show? Who are you paying off to get back here so frequently?
I just came and helped Kurt today on his farm. So
Sympathy podcast.
yep, for sure.
I thought he just kept showing up without an invite.
You've been on more podcasts in a shorter amount of time with our busy schedule than anyone in recent times. So congratulations on that.
I'm like those mosquitoes today.
We like you. Yeah. You're mosquitoes on a river bottom farm. They just you swallow one, right?
Just won't go away.
You just won't go away. Yeah, exactly. You're just
As much as you swat them away, they just won't go away.
Keep coming.
so that kind of leads into this the main topic of this podcast, and it might go a couple different ways. And I tried before we started recording, I tried to get a hard stance from everybody on mock scrapes, and everyone's more for it. But mock scrapes, are you for them? Are you not for them? Let us know in the comments on DeerCast. Do you run mock scrapes? Do you not? Why or why not? So Lee has I've kind of deemed you the title of the mock scrape king cult leader. If you want to know why we keep calling Lee the cult leader, listen back to the podcast. What number episode was it?
I don't remember.
Wow.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
It was so many.
3 something.
506.
Junk brows.
5 teens, I think. Yeah,
Junk Brow.
episode.
Junk bro.
And you were just on a recent DeerCast podcast. But anyway, joking around, we call you the cult leader now as your nickname because of jokes from that podcast. So
Just gotta accept it right off.
it's nothing crazy. He
It's
doesn't.
if you fight it, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, don't fight it. Don't fight it. So Lee is known. You're pretty passionate about your mock scrapes, I guess. And I obtained a 40-acre farm, and it's more of a travel area. But I wanted some things to get a deer to stop and trail cam pictures, hunting, whatever. So you're like, hey man, I can run out. We can try some of these mock scrapes on your piece, and it's like, cool. I'm open minded. You know, I never really did them to the detail that you always did them on. Before, if I ever did a mock scrape, it was very half effort, not a lot put into it, not a lot of time set aside. So I think what we should do is talk about how you do the mock scrapes, and then we'll talk about all of our experiences with them and whether we've had good or bad luck.
Give away your secrets.
So originally, I'm not the originator of this. I've taken some ideas from friends and
You didn't invent it.
Your
No.
grandpa didn't invent it?
nope.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure.
So some of my friends did it before me, but I've experimented with heights, of where to have the rope hang, different kind of scents and that kind of stuff.
But not everyone uses a rope.
Yeah, that's also true. Some people use vines. I use untreated hemp rope. You can buy it at any farm store. I use the 3/4 diameter. I just think I like the little bit thicker rope versus the 1/2 inch. You guys had to. You had to do that.
Well, I didn't do nothing. See,
Continue.
Continue.
push through, Lee.
Yep.
Push through.
I'm
So-
intrigued.
I take and I hang it in a suspended limb. When I put them out, I put them about now because I like to get the does using them first, which then puts their forehead gland scent on it. They lick it, they bite it, and puts their scent on it, and intrigues the bucks to come in and check them out. Normally, I see that activity starting mid-October is when I see the bucks transitioning to my mock scrapes. So I hang them about belly button or waist high right now because as the leaves come off, they'll pick up because there's less weight on the tree. And I like to have it, ideally around chest height is where I would like the rope to be. And then I just take a battery-powered weed eater, clear a 2-foot circle on the ground underneath it, and On the rope, I put an all-season scent. That's a big debate as far as what scents to use. Everybody's got their own opinion.
It's not even worth getting into, really.
No. But over the last couple of years, I've just found what works best for me, and I probably have a 90 to 95% retention of deer taking over my scrapes.
That's pretty impressive. Right?
You're not going to explain the secret Lee concoction that you use?
No.
I have an idea what goes into the serum.
Don't even go
The
there.
serum.
It's sad children tears from your colt.
Don't drink the
Gee
juice.
whiz. That got dark quick.
But
To be marketed at a later date.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I want all that.
Hey, patent pending.
Couple legal battles later.
yeah.
We'll get you the serum, the witch potion from Doug's
you-
ex-girlfriends.
So Lee,
Just
you
a
like
lot
to
of darkness made into this
Gee
scrape serum.
whiz.
so you like to,
You're
you
bringing the
like
wrong
to
kind
put
of
those
deer.
out right now, knowing that the trees are going to pick up. So are you putting your serum on those now? And
Yeah, because
Yeah?
my process with it is the does start chewing on it, like I said, and that's why I use like an all-season scent. I don't use like there's companies that make like forehead gland scents and that kind of stuff, and like tarsal gland scents. So I use like an all-season. I mean, the one that I use, you smelled it today, Kurt. I mean,
Yeah, it smells like, it kind of smelled like booze.
yeah,
in
it
a
kind
way.
of smelled like fermented apples is what I would say it smells like.
Yeah.
I use that on the rope, and I think it just drives the does to chew on it, rub their face on it, that kind of stuff. And then on the bottom, I use like a bedroom type scent, just a easy general deer
calming
bird scent.
Natural deer type scent. Yeah.
Yep. And I use that on the ground, and that's what I've noticed has worked the best for me.
What I love about it when he brought in the scent, it's all in mason jars. So it's like you were just brand neutral from the get.
I just
And that's the reason
brands that I use-
That's where the jokes come from, I
Yeah.
think, initially, because I'm like, well, this is shady. What are you putting down? But
Some moonshine.
talk about, and we don't even need to get brands, because everybody anyway is going to argue about it. It's going to stir up something, and they already have something they believe in their head.
Yep.
So whatever Lee's talking about, he uses, listeners, viewers out there, just replace it with what you like. If you do have direct questions, throw in the comments, and I'm sure Lee can respond to the comment in there if you really need to know. But talk about how you got the ground scent on the actual scrape, because there's a process to how you do it.
Yeah, so the one that I use is an aerosol, and obviously spraying on the ground, you're going to lose all your compression inside the aerosol if you tip it upside down. And so my first couple, I do that, and then I just poke holes in the can and drain it into a mason jar, and then just dump it on the ground and use my New Balances to
Yeah, white New Balances.
New Balances to.
That's a key. That's a key fact.
That is a key
fact
factor right there.
So why the calming scent on the ground? I mean, I think I have an idea, but I want you to just elaborate on that a bit.
Makes the deer calm.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Eric. Okay, moving on.
Would
All
have
right,
never
well,
guessed.
Why the sneakers?
Long story.
So, but for people listening, a different scent from the rope to the ground.
Yeah, and that goes back to the doe thing. I think the all-season scent makes them want to chew on it, like I said. The ground set, when I'm starting them out, you don't want to use a doe in heat. You don't want to use a rut and buck scent right now.
Wouldn't be natural.
Right, it wouldn't be natural to do that this time of year, so that's why I use like the calming type scent.
Okay, noted. So, how long after setting a mock scrape like this would you typically, like on an average, see a deer, a doe, or a buck start using it?
Depends on your population density, how many deer are coming by it. When we set them up today, I try to set them close to trails, in an instance like we were at today at your farm. And like field edges, I'll put them within 5 foot of where a trail comes out if there's a tree.
Natural movement
Yep,
areas.
natural movement areas.
So they can see it and find it right
and
there.
smell it, Yep. Really depends on your population density. Where I killed junk brow last year, I had a couple of them. And right away, I didn't have any bucks on camera, and it was all does. But it was like that night was the first does were
Really
sniffing at it and looking at it, and
very cool.
Yep, if you have it in a big enough tree on a big enough branch, I've had coons come hang on the rope and squirrels and that kind of stuff too. But,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Well, naturally, right?
Yeah.
it's gonna-
And you're planting a camera when you hang the rope.
Instantly.
You put a camera right
Yep.
there.
So let's just break. Thank you, Ross. For that's kind of a transition to like the breakdown what we did today, because the farm that we set them up on is it's more of a there's deer living there now. We saw today, but I think it's going to be during hunting season. It's going to be a very heavy rut travel running through spot, and this is something that may make them want to come through to check for does hitting the scraper or whatever,
Yep.
However you want to break that down. But I knew for sure hearing you talk about it, I'm like, man, it'd be great. Let's do that on the farm and see what we can do. So we did 3 of them, right?
Yep.
So we did one on the east side that is where I think is probably a lot of deer use coming back and forth. There's a crop field just to the east. And it's on a nice mowed path. It's actually a pretty perfect setup. We put a camera on it. And then we did one on the west side of the property, northwest side.
Yep.
And then we did one, there's a river. We did it just up from the river and mowed out a certain area and mowed a path, basically gave the deer a path of least resistance on the river bottom going from west to east. And we kind of made an opening, mowed a path in, there's the opening, the scrape is in the opening, and then continued the path moving east. So if a deer is going to use that, come in there on that river bottom, east to west, or vice versa, they're going to pretty much go right past that mock scrape with a camera on it. Yep. So the goal being, if a big buck is going to cruise through or whatever, might stop, hit the scrape, get a few more pictures of him, and then he can be on his way or whatever.
Or have a stand over it and get a shot.
Or that too, even better.
I position a lot of mine. I utilize them for that. It's just not to get pictures. I put them where, you see Mark and those guys put artificial scrape trees and that kind of stuff up. And I kind of utilize this as the same thing, white pines.
White pines.
Oh, yeah.
White pines.
I use this as the same key as a way, like where I killed Junkbrow was not a big field, but I can't shoot across it. So I had them within range of my stand.
Did you actually have Junkbrow hitting some of these?
No, because he showed up late season.
Oh, okay.
But my bow buck and the buck the neighbor killed, I had a bunch of pictures of them on it. Almost daily. Every time they'd come out to the field, they'd check it and go on about their day.
So is this like a set it and forget it, or are you going in refreshing this every?
I pretty much set it and forget it. Let the deer take it over.
Right.
Once they start going, their natural scent is going to be on it and keep.
So
it
you
open.
don't.
They're
so you go
refreshing.
back in. You're running a cell camera on that, or are you going back in and refreshing the rope and pulling the card?
If I don't run a ton of cell cameras, so not all of them have cell cams on it.
So you do go back and refresh the rope, or
Nope, I leave the rope alone.
The rope just gets refreshing from the deer naturally hitting it from the initial
Yep.
pull start.
Yeah, so I skirt the edge of it. Don't step in it. Don't
yeah.
leave as minimal
Ross,
amount of
tilt your
set
mic
around
down
that as
buddy.
possible.
Be a little easier for you. There you go. Perfect.
Pop the card out and go on about my day. But like my super active, where I've got my good deer, I'll put cell cams on it because I think it's one of the main points where I'll get a deer checking it. It's, everybody runs scrape cameras, that time of year. That's about the only place I put them. That and fence gaps that time of year.
Well, we did 1 cell cam, 2 regular cams, and the cell cam was in a spot that's, I think deer would move anyway. They're probably going to move in and out of that area anyway. And this is just hopefully entice them to move through more and stick around for just see what I don't know. It's just a guess and check, really. It's an experiment. And that's part of the fun of it. Like, I've never, if I have tried them, it's just been random last second type stuff, or just wasn't a lot of effort or pre-prep.
I say I've tried them too, but it hasn't been this much effort put into it.
No. Yeah, but it was fun. It was like exciting.
Right.
Don't really know what deer are out there, a new piece. Like, let's try this. Let's see what's going on.
Yep.
So for me, it's pretty exciting. It adds another like fun factor element. Like your app or whatever cell cam you use goes off and you're like, oh, I wonder what it is. Like, that's fun. Doug, have you ever messed with mock scrapes?
Not this early. I have not.
In general, though?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do them? Do you go to this extent, or what are you doing?
I'll make a mock scrape and then I'll pee in it.
So how do you make your scrape? What are you doing?
I'll just clear out a little piece on the ground, a circle, and then take a stick and
Under an overhang or something?
yeah, and then pee in it and break the branch a little bit.
That's a controversial topic. Ross,
What's that?
have you done mock scrapes in the past?
Yeah, but I usually don't do it this early. I mean, I'm still a week out on putting trail cameras. In years past, I'd put them out a lot earlier than this, and I got tired of going through 3,000 pictures per card and all the batteries and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait. So no, I hold off for about another week. Mock scrapes, I'm still about a month out from anything I've ever done in the past. But now talking about this, I might try to put a couple out there and see what happens with them. So I don't know. I'm not I guess I've just reeled it back in quite a bit from what I used to do. I used to just be all out. I'm in the timber every weekend, making a bunch of racket and pruning stands and hanging stands, and it's, cameras everywhere, and then go check them weekly or every other week. And I've backed off quite a bit, but I haven't played with this mock scrape stuff enough that this is interesting. I'd like to try it.
And I'm super methodical about when I go in and do them too. I'm not going in an hour before daylight, even in the summer, because
Not all willy-nilly.
that human intrusion, even in the summer, makes a difference.
For sure.
I go, unfortunate, like today, it was hot,
It's hot midday, but I'd already been in there mowing.
Yep.
I'd been running equipment. It's like, so any deer that was in there was out of there because of like something that they're going to see anyway.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good way to push deer out. If you have a chainsaw or a tractor or whatever, fire that up, let them hear you coming in. It's a nice gradual way to push deer out.
Yeah, you're mowing, you're coming in slow. They have time to think about, oh, here comes that idiot Kurt on his orange
On
piece
his
of crap.
mower again.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I don't put them in intrusive areas. I mean, it's field edges for the most part.
Right.
So it's
Easy
not
to get to.
Pop in, pop out.
Yep.
Where you would drive a tractor or a side by side or whatever. It's a good point. Real good point. What about you, Austin, when it comes up?
Well, in the great state of Illinois, you can't put out any feed, you can't do mineral or anything like that. So in the early season, if you want to concentrate deer in front of a camera, this is a good way to do it. You can put on a scrape and take some inventory that way. I don't know if you want to talk about brands at all or not, but there's a company that made a vine, an artificial vine, and I've used those before. You put the artificial vine down and they got like a powder that you spray on that and spray in the dirt. I've used that. I do the Doug method. I'll wear my work boots in and clear the ground out and take a whiz in the scrape. And that seems to work, seems to get them fired up. If you find a nice natural spot with an overhanging branch where they're going to do it anyways, you're just kind of getting it fired up for them.
Yep.
But yeah, I've used them in the summertime.
Starting the party.
Yep.
Eric, what about you, buddy?
I'm kind of the same way between Austin and Doug over there. It's just kind of get out there, turn the dirt up, take a whiz in it. Or like Doug said, find a low hanging branch and kind of snap it off a little bit, get it kind of
Appealing.
started. Yep.
Yeah. Peeing in it. Russ, you pee in yours?
Yes, I have. Lots of times.
I love how you said that like you were admitting a problem. I have.
It's like you're like in court. yes,
Yes, I have done that.
Guilty. Yep. What about you, Lee?
So I don't pee in my mock scrapes, just because I don't know. I feel like my human sense there when I'm making them, I don't want to tip them off.
You don't want
that's
to pee in there?
Human pee.
Okay.
But I pee in scrapes, like natural
what's the
deer
difference?
scrapes. I feel like they're already made, and it's just moistening the ground and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just never.
I'd say I would never make a mock scrape and pee in it. I guess I would never, but I don't make mock scrapes and then pee in them. I would rather do that during the rut because they're so crazed anyway.
They're kind of zombie-ish.
Somebody's, a big buck comes by, or a buck comes by and smells this scrape. They're always going to check scrapes when they're getting hot to trot, but
It's kind of
they
one of
come
those-
rolling in there. It's like, all right, somebody has been here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make my mark and I'm going to move on and go stomp around and knock some trees down. And
Kind of gives you a reason, like if you got to take a whiz on the way to the stand too, like you'd rather do it in there than just by some random ass
I gotta
tree.
admit, guys, I don't know if I've ever done it.
really,
If I had,
Ever?
It's been
Have you
more.
ever-
It's been more in existing scrapes than it has in
Yeah.
the mock.
There
I'd
you
like
go,
to say
Eric.
maybe I have, in the whole bow hunting scheme of, but if it was, I did it and forgot all about it and was like, yeah, I don't know. Like I've, not that I'm against it. I'm not an advocate nor against it. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
So
And
I've had
I'm kind of-
cameras. Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say, I've had cameras on these scrapes and been scared to death years ago when I first did it. Like, I was scared to death. I'm going to pee in the scrape, and then all of a sudden, nobody shows up. Not the case. No. Like, bucks on it within an hour. Like, all
and I
over
wonder
it.
if it's just like at a basic foundation urine is just urine.
That's what I think.
And
Well,
then
they
it's just,
say like after a certain amount of time, all urine turns into
Yeah.
some
whatever that
scientific
chemical is.
whatever
in
that
your-
chemical
enzyme.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
But
not
who
I'm not
knows?
an anti pee in the woods person at all. You know, I'm
I'm
not saying
not.
that.
I'm not- I'm
I pee out
definitely
of my
not
tree
either.
stand. You know,
Yeah,
to
same
me,
here.
I don't. To me, it doesn't affect the deer. You know, I've had deer come up and lick my steps that I peed on 20 minutes earlier. you know.
Yeah.
A lot of times for me, it's just laziness. I'll happen to be walking through the timber after hanging a tree stand or whatever, and I happen to walk by the perfect tree, and you're like, that branch is going to have a scrape under it, and I've got a camera in my pack, so I'm just going to get this thing fired up. So I'll go and take a stick or my feet. It's early in the season. Go in there, open it up, pee in it. It just seems to jumpstart it a
That's
little
not
bit.
laziness.
Well,
That's a good idea.
Maybe it's not being prepared, not having any scent or anything on me, but I'm just not a big scent guy, so I just use my own urine to fire the scrape up, and it seems to work.
The Lord sent.
There you go.
There,
I'm going to start bottling it if anybody wants to buy it.
drinking Bush Light and Old Fashions and peeing in Gatorade
Has its
bottles.
own unique flavor.
It's just so much of that in there.
It's the biggest bottle I've ever seen.
I don't really have much of an opinion. I think I don't know.
I will say I've
don't know how I
I've had
feel.
more success with my own urine than
Buying
Some companies.
some of these other companies' products.
But how often have you bought a company's product and deliberately made a full blown scrape with it?
Used to do it all the
Because
time.
earlier in the podcast, you hadn't done it. You didn't really comment on it.
Well, not that early. Back in the days.
Not this early.
yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I
so
gotcha.
I
During
back
scrape
dug up on
season.
that. So not this early, but yeah, but I've bought a dozen scrape drippers, and I've bought I don't even want to think about how much I've spent on
Just bottles.
you know, buck urine and all that, just bottles and dripping, and then going and refilling them, you know, constantly.
Okay, so
you know, the rope idea is awesome because you just the deer take over.
Yeah.
I mean, with that little dripper, honestly, you got that little plastic straw that's curly cued out the bottom. There's not a lot for them to rub their
the
face
old
on.
school drippers.
So-
Do they still make the dripper?
Oh,
Oh,
sure
yeah.
they do.
And it's just like the heat, the heating and warming
Right.
of
Makes
the
it
day.
drip.
Increased pressure inside of the bag. makes
If
it
you did a
push out.
dripper with your scent, your favorite scent, your cold
Down the
scent,
rope.
and then
Pissing up
and
a
the
rope.
rope, that's
cold
the
scent.
perfect mixture, right?
You think so?
Oh,
You would think so?
It's I love this conversation, and partially the reason why I like it so much is that it's different. It's with a mock scrape, I'm more open minded than I am using a buck lure X brand, whatever
Right.
you use and put it out.
Yeah.
I'm more open minded to the mock scrape for whatever reason it is. I don't know, but what's the difference? What's the difference between using doe urine or buckrat urine or tarsal gland while you're hunting versus using it in a mock scrape? But for some reason, I'll give the mock scrape a little more credit of I'll run a couple of them, but I won't use the scents during hunting season.
I've never used it to position a deer for a shot like what you're doing. I use it in the summertime to take inventory. I've never put any stock in really doing it in season, but I have had quite a bit of success taking inventory. Like I said, in Illinois, when there's no other options, pretty much. I mean, in the early season, that's
Yeah.
what I found to be a good way to concentrate deer in one area.
and it's a longevity of the circumstance where you have a scrape that basically you let the deer take over on their own versus rut when you're spending all that money trying to, or not on a scrape, I guess. In general, spending all that money, whether it's around a decoy or just scent wicks hanging through the woods, you're blowing all that money on that stuff for a hunt and trying to get yourself in that spot. So yes, I agree with you. I used to do it, spend all kinds of money on scent wicks and I'd dope them up every time and I'd hang them all over and
Get all
thought
over
that
your
was awesome.
hands.
Then it's like, well, I got $500 in scent this year and that didn't work at all. So
That you know of, that you can even calculate any success to it. Yeah.
right. So then you go back to thinking about that scrape you set up originally, and then the deer just took it over. It's really the best way to go, in my opinion, because you're not dumping all that money into all those scents for.
It's a set and forget. So
Let me
throw-
ask-
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
We were going to
Lee.
do the same thing, but different topics, I'm sure. Go ahead, Eric.
Have you ever set a rope without any scent?
Yeah.
I mean, you get the same.
I've done it kind of like you guys pee, where you know a scrape's going to show up. If I've got a spot where I know a scrape's going to show up, I'll put a rope too, just because I think it holds their forehead gland scent better. I don't do it often. There's one place that I know every year there's a scrape on
Right.
over this branch, and the derecho happened, and the branch got knocked down. The tree was still there, but that branch, all the small branches that the deer would rub on got knocked off. So I took 2 or 3 of them, I can't remember, and hung like 2 or 3 ropes right there to replace the branches that weren't there anymore.
But you've never like hung a rope, made a mock scrape. You've always used some kind of scent on the rope or in the scrape.
Pretty much. Yep. I've never really, unless it was already a place I knew where one was going to pop up, I've never just hung one and tried it. I know people that have, like out in a food plot, they put a 4x4 and 2x4 across and just hang ropes and no scent on them, and those have taken off.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It makes me want to do more of them to just see
what works and what doesn't.
For a season, what are my results?
Right.
Like, is it worth doing in Illinois where we can't supplemental feed and do these types of things?
Because that's where I was coming in, one of my properties where the deer can actually go around me if they wanted to. And I was talking to Lee about it, and that's where this whole white pine thing comes in.
Yeah, this is your guys' joke.
Yeah, this is a joke.
It's not a joke, though.
No, it's not at all. He's like, well, you need to get something in there to make them deer come to you.
Because it's a big field, right?
Yeah, it's a big field, and they can follow the fence line and go around me, or they can cut down and come right by my stand. There's 2 ways they can go if they're on my property. So he's like, yeah, we need to put a white pine up there. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So he cuts down. Would he cut down a white pine limb?
Yeah, a white pine limb. And it started because I had Eric make me a bracket, basically, because where I killed junk brow, he doesn't want me to dig holes. Normally what I do is I cut a 7-foot long white pine branch, anywhere from 2 inches around to the tip of it, and I bury them like 3 foot in the ground, so there's 4 foot sticking out. And every one I've ever put up, I don't put any scents or anything on that. They just take it over because it's something out in the middle. They're just curious animals.
And they just love white pines.
Check it out, and I think it's the sappy, soft. It's a lot of people do the horizontal ones with the white pines.
Yeah,
I've tried them. I just think the vertical, it's more natural to me, and I've had more success with the vertical than anything.
Good point.
But that's where the white pine thing comes in, because I didn't know what a white pine looked like. So every tree I would drive by, I'm like, hey, Lee, is this a white pine? Is that a white pine? Is this a white pine? He's like, dang it, I will go to my white pine patch and show you what a white pine looks like.
That's pretty funny.
You should get the app on your phone where you can just look through your camera and
does that work?
How old the tree is and what kind it is and everything.
That's a thing.
I saw it on a commercial once.
Saw it on an Instagram ad.
I need that because I almost feel guilty that I don't know tree species.
I don't either. Don't feel that guilty.
Austin and Lee and Ross, I'm sure you 3 know some tree species. Like, I'm like, yeah, these are all white pines, and Lee is like, those are or not white pines, white oaks. Those are red oaks. I'm like, oh,
my bad.
No, that's a honey locust.
yeah. See the needles?
See the thorns? Dead giveaway.
That's a pine tree.
Those are pine cones. No,
All right, let
those
me
are
throw this
thorns.
at you boys. A couple guys I know do the deer urine balls. They're like an orb.
Looks
Looks like a paintball.
It's almost like water bead.
Looks like a
they're
paintball.
small.
My
They're
daughter has them. We play with them. You dump them in water, and they're like plastic, and then they become like absorbent.
That's new voodoo technology. I don't even know what this is.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen these?
No.
Grab beer.
And then the idea is they put whatever lure you want in them. They expand, and then when you dump them into the scrape, when they dry up, I'll take a soda pop, Eric, one of them green ones, and then actually, yeah, I will take one if you don't mind. And then so once they dry up, when a deer pees into the scrape, the orb balls, whatever they are, absorb the urine again of the deer, the animal, and then it refreshens the scrape for longer.
I've got a couple buddies that I've never used those because kind of about the time that started happening, I had found my method that I use now, and it works great. So I didn't figure I'd need
What
to
if you
change.
put these
Absorbing ball things.
black magic Colt balls in there?
With your Colt
I
set.
wonder, random thought here, but if a deer walks up and sees something else going on down there, like
So
it'd be
they're-
kind of like
they're-
you going and finding a really nice tree in the woods to get rid of, do your business, and then you see somebody else has already been there, and there's something where you're going to go.
Kind of taints it a little bit.
Like, it's like, well,
So they're
I wasn't the
really
first one
small.
here, so
They're really small,
okay.
and they're like brown colored. They kind of take the color of urine.
Well, I've seen
They
them
don't- do
pink
they swell
before
up?
and
Oh,
orange.
really?
The ones
It's
I've
a
seen are
marketing
like a
thing.
marble-sized ball.
Yeah, they absorb about that size. They're only way I can think is like water beads.
Orbeez is the
Orbeez,
name,
Orbeez.
the name brain.
Yeah,
Name
I'm
brand.
sure it's the same thing. They just put them in urine instead of water being absorbed into them. It's deer urine.
Yep.
I might be way wrong on all of this, but that's my
Take on it.
take. That's what I thought it was.
Not a bad
I don't
idea.
know. I've seen them before in like stores and stuff, but I've never like went over there and be like, hey, what the hell is this?
I'm always scared of artificial scent usually because
That's
it's
the
like,
point, yeah.
why put it out there if it doesn't need to be? And you're giving a deer a reason to be like, whoa, 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 what's going on? What is this? Who's this fake
Yeah.
Imposter.
BS out here? Yeah.
That was my stupid point I was trying to make.
And that's why I make my scrapes now and let the deer try to take them over. If they fail, I don't try to restart.
It's
them.
whatever,
I
right.
will next year. I'll try to restart them again next year. But
And you're not rolling into your favorite rut spot and putting one right in the middle of everything right now.
no,
Yeah.
I do my field edges, and that's about the only spot I use them. I'm hunt a lot of field edges anyways.
Take inventory in those easy to get to spots so you're not disturbing anything. And if it works, great. If not, then you leave it alone.
Yep, and hopefully they take it over later. If not, I do the whole scent game again next year with what I use.
Yep.
So do you leave the ropes up and then
Yep.
the following year it'll just refresh them?
Yep.
I like it.
Unless sometimes they get like super moldy and that kind of stuff. Not always, depending on how much moisture they take in. Sometimes I replace them, but sometimes I just leave them.
So you said you can get this rope at any like farm store, like Farm Fleet or whatever around here.
Yep. Mills, Blaine's. I'm sure Farm King has it.
Yeah, any hardware store.
Yeah,
probably
any
has it.
Menards you could probably get it too, or anything like that.
That's the debate we need to have. What's the best farm store?
Let's have it right now.
Farm King.
Farm King.
I don't even know what Farm King is because I'm
You don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah, you don't even know. Farm King's pretty hard to beat, man.
Farm King's pretty good. Blaine's is pretty good.
See, over by me, it's either Mills or Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply
sucks.
can suck,
Yeah.
depending on what you're looking for.
Well, I didn't say
You
it was
don't
my
even have a
favorite.
sporting goods aisle in that, do you? In Tractor Supply?
Yeah. There's
Tractor Supply is
It's a
kind of
half an aisle.
watered down.
and there's they sell trail cameras and that kind of stuff.
Weak.
They sell
What's
like,
I would
they
say
sell
Farm
like the
King's got a
can.
department.
What about
It's like the can.
Dude, have you ever been to Farm King in Canton, Illinois?
Or Macomb. Macomb's the granddaddy.
Macomb's a big dog.
Macomb is the big dog. I haven't been to that
That's the
one.
mother store.
The one in Burlington has
It
a
is.
awesome hunting selection.
It does.
Burlington's good.
That was our
Macomb's a good-
tradition growing up hunting in Fulton County, Illinois, is go to Canton, where Jim Tomey's from, was the big claim to
Yeah.
fame. They always had on the sign, "We love Jim Tomey." I always remember, like, dude, you must be so cool that your hometown loves you. Like, because normally when you make it big, your hometown hates you because you did what everybody else, you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like that thing. So that's cool. But anyway, yeah, that was like my childhood, like hunting camp, weekend getaway from hunting camp. Like, let's go to Farm King and walk in circles around the hunting
We don't have Farm King where we're at.
No.
Do you have rural king?
No, we have Farm and Fleet or Tyson's.
Yeah, Tyson. I didn't even think about Tyson.
I don't know nothing about
We had
Tyson's.
where most of my mom's
Tyson's
side of the family
hunting.
was from. We had Big R, Rural King, and Big R was is the big one.
And in
Big
Iowa
R.
now, Baumgars, I've learned about Baumgars. Mm-hmm. That's a decent little farm store.
Never heard of her.
Baumgars, yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar. What's the other one? Tyson's, Theson's.
Tyson's.
We say Tyson's.
If they're listening,
that's,
they need to.
that's another debate on top of our debate that
They
we're
need to
having.
fix their hunting store department.
Oh, is it bad? What about
not very
Fleet
good.
Farm? Fleet Farm.
I don't know nothing about that either.
We
Fleet
don't have a lot
Farm's
of them
up
around.
in. It's like a more Wisconsin.
Mills. Is that what you're talking about? Mills Fleet Farm?
Is it Mills? Yeah, because
Yeah.
Blaines and Mills,
Farm and Fleet.
Blaines
Farm and
is
Fleet
Farm
and
and
Fleet
Fleet.
Farm were brothers or something like that. I used to work at Farm and Fleet in high
They
school.
were not brothers.
They weren't.
I looked into this one day.
Are they related?
No, not at all.
I always remember that was like the conversation.
Who started when?
That was like the whole tale
Debate.
and everything, but it was actually,
Who made that up? I want to know who made it up and how did it go that far.
if I remember right, I think one
Just
guy
'cause it makes
started the
sense.
store.
Yeah, if you got
does
Farm and Fleet and Fleet Farm, you got to think, well, there's ties there. They got to be.
One guy started it, the other guy loved the idea, and he's like, I want to start something like this down this way, Iowa way. Because I think northern Iowa, they have Fleet Farm.
Yeah, Wisconsin and all
Yep.
that. Yeah.
And then the other guy's like, he went and asked him, hey, can I use the name but put my last name instead of Mills? He put Blaine's and just flipped the names around to Fleet
Really?
Farm and Farm and Fleet. If I remember right, they were not related at all, though.
What do we got to do to get Blaines and Mills on a podcast together and have them fist fight each other and see who's the real
The
kid?
great debate. Which one's better?
I would actually like to interview somebody like that. I'm sure that they're probably dead and gone, but
I know that the owner of Farm King and his sons, they've killed the snot out of everything.
They're
Like,
big hunters, big hunters.
the owner of Farm King's
Yeah.
around.
I actually have ties with them if we want to get them on.
Get
a
them
podcast.
in. We got a podcast about it. I would
We could
love
do
to
that.
interview them.
My cousin knows one of the boys, so yeah.
If we can make that happen, 'cause Farm King is responsible for a lot of childhood memories of hunting camp for me.
Sure.
Yep.
Our big thing, like growing up, was a big trip to Shields.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like that was our
Yeah.
like me and my old man like to get fishing stuff
going
or
to
hunting
Iowa City.
stuff or like
Shields is
go
getting up there with the big boys.
or like
Shields is good.
Yeah.
I love Shields,
But
man.
Shields is
is
not a
everything.
farm store.
No.
Right.
Right, I'm just saying like that was our like yearly trip to get fishing, hunting, look at all the guns and all that stuff.
All the stuff
Yeah.
you can't buy.
It's an
Right.
experience like Bass Pro, Cabela's.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you
That
go
was
there,
ours.
like you want to take your kids there.
Yep.
It's an experience. You know, you bring them in, they see the mounts, they see the fish. That's fun. You know, I mean, a lot of that, I think is overlooked. It might be responsible for a lot of interest in kids hunting when they go there. It's like an experience. They can some Bass Pro Shops have like the bowling alley and the restaurant, like the candy, like that stuff is probably more impactful than we give it credit for
Oh,
kids.
for sure.
Yep.
To get them into hunting. Let's go to the hunting store. This is cool. Well, if you get into hunting, it's even more cooler to go to the Bass Pro Shop and do all those fun things.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a twist we've been overlooking.
We didn't get
Yeah.
to go to Bass Pro when I was younger.
Somebody's thought this through.
That's
That
too
was
far.
ours.
It's too
was,
far.
Ours was Bass Pro because
It's
I'm,
right
I'm
there.
already by Iowa
Right.
City. So Shields was like once a week. We went there, but ours was we'd go to Bass Pro because it was over in Altoona. It was like an hour away.
Right.
So I know Bass Pro and Cabela's are like kind of the same thing now. Mm-hmm. What's better, Bass Pro or Cabela's?
But like back in the day, Cabela's.
Yeah, Cabela's.
But now I'd argue that Bass Pro is way better.
I would
Yeah, I don't know
agree.
the difference now.
I just feel like
As
Bass
a kid,
Pros are
I always
bigger.
got excited when the Cabela's magazine came. So I'm gonna say Cabela's.
Do you remember the master catalog with the thumb slots?
Oh, yeah.
And the fold out tabs?
It was
Spent a
like
lot of money on
it was
that.
like the brown. It looked like a leather
Yep.
book, but it was just a regular
They
magazine.
had hard cover ones.
Oh yeah.
And you always circle what you wanted.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I
Never got
remember.
it, but-
I remember. I
Christmas
mowed.
lists.
I mowed yards all summer. I got a pair of hunting boots one summer.
Ooh.
I think I fit
Walking
in like
tall.
1 year.
Dude, I would circle stuff like I was like trying to decorate a house that I was never going to live in. Right. You know what I mean? Because they had like all the bedding. I'm like, I want that.
Camouflage couch.
Yeah.
bingo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check.
I'm 6.
I'm gonna get that. For
But you know
sure.
what I mean? You wanted it.
Oh yeah.
Every time that I see camo furniture, whether I'm at like, because Farm King in Galesburg has camo furniture.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a staple of the store. You got to have that right in the middle.
Yeah. Well, every time I walk by, my wife's like, no.
No.
Absolutely not.
You know what, Eric? You've always wanted a camo couch, right?
Yep.
I've
have-
always wanted a camo couch.
We have a studio now.
We have a studio where we can get a camel couch.
Hey, we're getting rid of one couch. We're getting a camo couch.
We're getting a camel couch.
Deal?
Deal.
I always wanted the camo lazy
Okay.
boy.
I'm on board for that.
They even make kid-size lazy boys
My son
in
has
camo.
one.
Yeah, see, that's pretty
Okay,
cool.
there you go. Lee's son's got one.
Are we getting a camo couch for the studio?
We're getting a camel couch for the studio.
Say no more, fam. I'll go get one tomorrow.
Well, what kind of camo though?
Whatever one they got in stock. You can't argue.
Doesn't matter. Get in the truck.
We're not going. We're not negotiating.
I remember when
Yeah, get in the truck. You want to come or not?
when me and my wife
Yeah.
first got together, I had camo bed set, like the comforter and everything.
Same. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That didn't last long,
The
did
first
it?
day she moved in, she's like,
That's
would you
going.
mind if I bought new comforter and sheets? I'm like, I don't care, whatever.
It was time.
It was time.
Oh, man. That's like some of the best, my childhood for Christmas. I got like Cabela's camo sleeping bags.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
have them. My wife tried to throw one out. I freaked out on her.
Oh, yeah.
Now she knows. So
It's against the law.
It's been sitting in the garage for 10 years, but you can't throw it away.
Makes a good late season blind.
cinema. Yeah. So
Warm.
yeah, wear that
I do.
thing. I love how this went from mock scrapes to just.
Yeah, we did.
That's fun conversation though, man.
Yeah, it
that's
is.
that's good conversation. I think if anyone grew up hunting in the early 2000s, 01 to now, I think we'll probably share the same hunting camp childhood. Just little things you overlook or forget about, that come back to you. Whether it's from flipping through a catalog, seeing the camo love seat at what other farm store your dad
Right.
went to. That all that stuff plays into your perception, your passion, your interest for the outdoors, whether it fishing or hunting or whatever else. So
That's right.
one thing I want to close out on, did you guys see the new update on DeerCast?
Oh yeah,
It's pretty slick.
I commented on it.
It is.
Mark
it
really
is
liked my
enjoyable.
comment.
He did?
No way.
Oh yeah,
Get out.
know him?
Prove it.
Mark did?
You know
Prove
him?
it.
I know him.
You're kind of a big deal.
I don't
No,
really know
you
him.
do not.
Man, I got to say, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I walked around the shop, showed everyone.
That's pretty cool.
Look at
Talk about that
like
rain gauge.
The rain
Like my
gauge is
comment.
a game changer for me.
So-
I hunt like an hour and a half from a lot of my
Yeah.
from my house.
I'm just going to ask, is that linked in with like Field View, or how do they go off the rain gauge?
That I don't know.
No idea.
Field View is an ag app that I've
Yep.
used for years, and it has a rain gauge, and down to each field that I farm, I can see what I got for rain there. So I'm just assuming that it's probably linked in with like Climate Field View.
Yeah,
A lot of
I'm
them-
not sure.
A lot of them too now are picking up, like if you see a lot of farmers like on their property or like on a field, they have those
Rain stations.
those rain
Mhm, weather
stations,
stations.
and those talk to the weather apps
Yep.
and everything.
Yep.
So I think that
Really?
yeah,
Actually, on their farm.
yep,
Yeah,
on
you
their
see
farm.
them like next to roads a lot. It's just like
That's
a
how they
white
gather
box.
data.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got
Pretty
like
cool.
a wind thing on it usually, and
Oh, yeah, I've
it's
seen
got
a
a
lot
little
of
thing to
those.
collect rain and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Little weather station. I have one at home. It's amazing.
When Sam and I bought our farm, they gave us a rain gauge.
Whoa.
So
Dang.
yeah, I got to dump it out every time it rains to get that. It's probably like 75 cents.
I think
They gave us a
in
rain
the
gauge.
DeerCast
Sold.
update, my next to the rain gauge, I think the rain gauge is like I said, it's a game changer for me because I live so far away from a lot of my hunting spots.
Cold ground, yeah.
Yeah,
How many rain gauges you got out there?
about 37.
Just a kid out there holding a bucket with Sharpie marks on it.
The wind direction thing that is on there, because there's some of my spots where I think is north when I'm sitting there is not actually north.
Yeah,
So when I
versus how
can
you
look at it on
perceive
a
it.
map and like see how it lays out in the field and how that wind and how fast the wind's going, how narrow it's going to make your
Dude,
cone
the
and
coolest
that
part
kind of
about the
stuff.
wind too, how they do like I guess like maybe like your wind cone, the different wind speeds that actually you can see the change in the
Oh, yeah.
wind cone from where you're at, where your stand is or whatever.
Right.
And so that plays into a whole nother level
Yep.
of how you think about hunting certain things in different winds. So go back to our term, the whiskey wind, the wind that might not be the best, but it's going to work for you and the deer. That's a big factor, man.
Yeah.
How you're going to go about it. So, if you haven't been on the new DeerCast update with the mapping and all the awesome features, check it out. If you're already listening to this through DeerCast, hope you're
You already
enjoying
there?
it.
Check it out.
get the update, get the new
Go
update.
there and,
Yeah, get the
check
update.
it out.
Because there's different levels. They have a level for everybody, which is pretty cool.
And the I think it's elite still is the highest one, right?
It's I'll tell you real quick.
Because you get a 14-day with that now instead of 10-day, and you get
Nice.
the mapping for all 50 states, and it's like $74.99, I think is what it is.
That's great.
And you get DeerCast Track, and you get
There's DeerCast Unlimited, DeerCast Elite Plus, DeerCast Elite, DeerCast Pro.
and Unlimited's the highest one.
Yep. So DeerCast Pro is $10 a year,
Yeah,
and you get DeerCast Social, DeerCast Dailies, DoD TV, DoD TV Library, DeerCast Now, 5-day DeerCast. DeerCast Elite, $20 a year, not a month, a year. Social, Dailies, DoD TV, the library, DeerCast Now, 10-day DeerCast, DeerCast Custom, DeerCast Track. Don't call me if you didn't spend the $20 for a year. That's a case of Busch Light. How many do you drink of those a year?
all my friends listening, I am not giving you advice this year. Just
Spend
Just spend
20
the money.
Spend $20.
Don't call me.
don't you call me.
DeerCast Elite Plus, $50 a year, 14-day DeerCast, DeerCast Track, DC Now, DeerCast Custom, DC Social, DC Dailies, DoD TV, DoD Library, parcels, rain stations, wind checker, the radar, path tracking, area and distance, food plots, waypoints, offline maps,
And I think that's just one state, right? Did it say in there?
one state parcels.
Yep.
And then DeerCast Unlimited, all those other great features, nationwide parcels,
Nice.
plus all the other features. That's $75 for a year, not a month, a year.
It's a good deal.
It's a great deal.
Pretty incredible.
Looking at it right now, it's pretty.
So
Can't complain.
consider that. It's early enough. Save your pennies. Skip a case of beer for a week or soda pop, whatever you do.
take all your cans back if you live in
Barley.
Iowa.
Yeah, don't skip
then
it.
you
And
can
just recycle.
There you go. Recycle.
take all your cans back that you drank. Then you can afford a subscription to DeerCast.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Roundtable, boys. What you guys got to add? It's a fun conversation. I enjoyed it.
I think I might actually try the cult leaders
Serum?
tactic. Serum.
Magic serum.
I'm gonna drink the juice.
The witch potion.
I mean, I'm going to
Don't
try
drink
it too.
it.
Oh.
But it sounds like he'll come out and do it for you, so I'll just do that.
Hey,
Came out here for me.
yeah. What's that about?
I'm closer.
We're closer.
Hey, man, I'm always open. Not always.
That's how he
I have
weaseled his
jobs,
way into another podcast.
so they're too far away, right?
Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky. Lee, what do
Did
you
you
got,
drink
buddy?
this here?
He's getting his punches in.
Thank you for the help on the farm today.
No problem, man.
I utilized you more than you probably thought you were going to be used for.
You going to buy him a new pair of New Balances?
I don't know what that was.
I owe him a pair, yeah.
I can't wait for that video.
No, they're broke in.
I
now,
got
it's
I got
good.
a reel coming. We have an instructional video on how Lee does his scrapes, his mock scrapes, and I'm going to make a couple reels with his dad tinnies. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to work on that tomorrow
Maybe we can
morning.
do a white pine one on my property.
Yeah, that'd be good. We could do informational stuff with that too.
I'll make another bracket.
White pine and the white New Balances. I
White
love
pine
it.
and the white New Balances.
Ooh,
That's a deadly combination
Do we all
there.
have to get white New Balances?
You don't have to, but
You're not a dad.
you're not a dad. Yeah,
Starting a trend.
Well, that we know of.
Kill a deer in those
Might a
New
couple
Balances this year.
They're brown enough now from today. They wouldn't even shine the white.
Ross, what do you got, buddy?
Man, I'm definitely gonna do. I'm gonna try a couple of them, and I'll get back to you on how they work. So
I'll just leave my stuff here, and you guys can utilize it, and then
yeah, there you
I'll
go.
get it back. There's enough to go around.
And if a listener wants
Just
to
use
know
it
what
all.
you do, go to DeerCast, and you'll answer questions in the DeerCast comments.
Absolutely.
Okay,
go.
fair.
Yeah, refer to him as
it's
a cult leader.
$10 a year. If you're listening to this and you don't have it, just spend the money.
Just do it.
It's $10.
Just do it.
Steve puts less than that in his gas tank to this day, and manages to live through life.
He buys more Casey pizza a day.
Dude, you're right.
He spends more on the NHL app than that.
Just don't eat lunch for 2 days.
Facts.
Just eat a scorpion pepper, and you won't want to eat lunch for a couple days.
There you go. Save some money.
Now that's a fact.
Austin, what do you got, buddy?
It's a good time, fellas. I will definitely be trying the new Lee method and Farm King.
The
for
what
life.
method?
The Lee method.
Doesn't sound right.
No,
I don't
even
get it.
do
That sounds off.
Don't
What's he
do
saying?
it.
The what method?
Lee method.
They want you to say the C word.
The Lee Colt method.
Oh,
you go.
yeah.
There it is.
Now I know what you're talking
That
about.
sounds familiar.
Children's tears.
Yes.
Yes.
And Farm King for life.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Hashtag.
bold. You're up, Eric.
Oh, when I went earlier, I was saying I'm going to have Lee come out and do it for me.
Okay. You know what to do. Go shoot a giant. We love you. Thanks for being here.